out of respect for Sarah Kesty's time and Jonah's time and everybody's time here this evening, wherever you are joining us, whatever time zone. Thank you so much for being here with us. If we have not met, I'm Laurel Richardson. I'm the Director of Community Outreach for the CMTA. I've been on staff for, gosh, 6.5 years, which is unbelievable. But I have had CMT 1A for a lot longer than that. I will not mention my age at this very moment. But we're really happy to have you here. The CMTA has a dual mission, and that is that we aggressively support the development of drugs and treatment for CMT. But also, while doing that, we want to make sure that the community feels supported, that we are helping to improve quality of life for people with CMT. That includes all of us, our families and loved ones, kiddos, and of course, the youth is a really important part of what we do here at the CMTA, and it's why we've built so many wonderful programs to bring the younger generation into the community and to be part of our mission and what we're doing here. So that is me in a nutshell, but I want to turn it over to Jonah Berger, our National Youth Programs Manager. Many of you might know him as the camp director. So Jonah, it's all you.
Thank you, Laurel. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Happy Thursday. My favorite day of the week because the weekend is all ahead. You've lost none of the weekend yet. It's all ahead of you. So it's a wonderful day of anticipation. I've always loved Thursdays. It is such a joy to be with you all tonight. I wanted to introduce myself. I am the National Youth Programs Manager for the CMTA. I'm also the camp director for Camp Footprint, which just completed its 9th year. And next year will be our 10th anniversary. Holy cow. And it just was such a wonderful summer. And the youth of the CMTA are just the most magical youth on the planet. So I'm biased, but I'm also speaking truth. We at the CMTA since 2016 have started and built a youth movement. And the more we built, the more youth came to it, and the more we wanted to keep on building it. And the reason that we do it is because we started camp years ago, again in 2016, and we realized very quickly that it was absolute magic when youth with CMT got together with other youth. It was a simple recipe, but the more we did camp, the more we realized this is something that really needs to expand. And so in addition to working towards a cure and in addition to supporting the adults of the CMTA community, we have now built an entire youth movement and a young adult movement to boot, so that the goal is that eventually we'll have a little ones movement so that we can meet someone at birth and take them through their lifespan, supporting them. And the most important thing in the youth component of that is meeting other kids who get it. Kids show up to CMT Camp Footprint, and it is unbelievable that total strangers become instant friends because they're understood. Other people get it without them having to explain it to them, without them having to feel uncomfortable because they know everyone is in the same position. And so there's just nothing like connectivity to other youth with CMT. And the CMTA is leading the charge for that, and we are here for you all. So if there's ever anything that I or we at the CMTA can do to support you, do not ever hesitate to reach out. I am Jonah at cmtausa.org. We'll put all my information in the chat later, but reach out anytime. Tonight, we have an amazing special guest, an old friend of the CMTA and a friend of mine as well. And it is my absolute joy to introduce you all, well, to reintroduce you all to some of you, to Sarah Kesty. Sarah is on the advisory board for the CMTA and has been working with individuals with disabilities for over 20 years now. She is a board certified advocate in special education and a 4-time teacher of the year. She has a podcast called the Executive Function Podcast, which I need to start tuning into because I need some executive functioning. And her website is www.sarahkesty.com, that you can check out her children's book, Everyone Has Something, that I've read to my daughter many times. And in 2023, she started and founded Brain Tools School, where students learn strategies to thrive in neurodivergent brains. So that is a mouthful, but she is just such a wealth of amazing knowledge, and she has such a heart and passion for youth of all walks of life. And so it's just such a treat that she's here with us tonight, and we look forward to hearing what she has to say. So, Sarah, take it away, my friend.
Thank you both. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for being here. Is my audio okay? I can get
Yeah,
closer.
when you're closer, it's
Yeah.
great.
Okay, cool. I'm currently in a cast, so I'm kind of hobbled here. So if I'm wiggly, that is why. Got some cast action under the table going on. Fun times. I know many of you understand. So, especially my soul sister over there, Savannah, huh? We both have breaks right now. Boo to broken legs. Okay. We're gonna get started, and I just kind of want to open up with I value us connecting together and interacting more than I value getting through all of my stuff. So if there's a moment where you're like, oh my gosh, that makes sense, or wow, that really helped me, absolutely interrupt. And it's not really an interruption, but interject, say something. You can jump in the chat. Because I was online teaching during COVID, I'm pretty good at checking the chat and kind of interacting. So we have that open invitation. And in the very same space, if you're a kid or a teen who's watching this with your parent and you were reluctantly dragged to it and it feels really awkward and you're like, I don't know if I want to be here, there's also no pressure to talk or interact. So there's like a span of ways right now you might be quietly soaking it up, or even halfway, like 30% of you is like, okay, maybe this lady knows some stuff, and 70% of you is like, I need to leave. There's room for that too. Because if my mother had dragged me to something like this when I was younger than about 30, I probably would have had some words about it. And that's the truth. And so I'm here to welcome everybody no matter where you are, and offer some ways to make it easier for you earlier than it became easy for me, because it took a very long time. So I'll show you what I made for you. Okay. I'm going to share my screen, and I already am sharing my screen. I'm going to press play on the recording, and when I do, it's going to show captions so that you can have that reinforcement of seeing the words and hearing me. So if that's helpful for you, awesome. If it's not helpful for you, you can just grab like a little index card or a piece of paper and cover it if it's distracting, because I know we all have different brains. Some people are like, no, thank you. That's not my jam. Okay. I wanted to open by telling I kind of ruined the surprise, but to the kids that are here tonight, I admire your courage, and I very much understand what's been going on. So that is an x-ray of my right foot. I've had 25 surgeries. 2 were just a fluke because I injured my thumb, but all the rest have mostly been on righty over there. If you are someone who's gone through a lot of surgeries and the pain that comes with that, you're in good company. I also have broken my foot a few times. So that is an old photo of my left foot when I broke it. And I was working out and I was doing what I could. So I do also have the perspective of being knocked down and getting back up and finding those open doors. And that's what I want to invite us to explore together tonight. Another example of like, okay, that was when I did not have any injuries or surgeries, so I was able to work out a little bit more. And those are really my shoes. My feet are 2 very different sizes. And so when you think about like, oh, this is a person who's working out, like it would be very easy to look at me from the outside most of the time and say, she wouldn't get it. She doesn't understand. Nothing's wrong with her. and maybe compare yourself to someone who can do a lift like that and say, oh, they're so much better. But you know the truth, like inside, I've got many, many surgeries and I've got pain and my feet are different sizes. We can't see what other people are going through. And we can't see, and oftentimes people can't see what we're going through. So tonight we're going to work on some perspective work so that we have the opportunity to challenge ourselves when we start comparing ourselves to other people or worrying that other people are comparing themselves to us, so that we can kind of unlock some of the grief and, you know, just the friction that comes with feeling so different. But for the kids who are here, I really truly understand. And until I was almost 30, I would not even say CMT out loud. I wouldn't say disability. I would barely ever use my handicap placard for parking unless I had just had a surgery, because I was terrified of what might happen. Like people might say something, or they might make fun of me, or they might like not be my friends anymore. And I was a grown up when I was thinking these things. And if you are in that space right now, I'm really hoping tonight helps. And I want you to know from my story, when I told people about CMT, when I shared my truth, do you know what horrible things happened? None. It was terrifying. I shook. My body had all the signals of like, don't do it, don't do it. Like I was hot. I felt really like a couple times I cried. And the worst thing that happened was maybe I cried. Everybody I told was supportive. And even it made some of my relationships stronger. And if you're not ready, if that's just like, nope, I don't want to do that right now, that's okay. But just know that that opportunity is available for you when you are ready. Okay. To the parents, thank you for being here. You are huge, important parts. And what I want you to know is coming up in a little bit. I'm sorry, I forgot that I had a slide directly to kids. So we're going to go back to children. Whoops. Darlings, children and teens, it does get better. It really, really does. In this webinar, we're going to talk about how to handle when things feel rough. So it's not expected that you always feel positive, because no human always feels positive. And we're going to explore how sometimes that can actually make it feel worse. There are ways to make school easier and even less embarrassing. So I know when people talk about like, hey, we could make you a school plan or accommodations, and then you might shrink up and be like, no, I don't want to seem different. I don't want to have anybody look at me, or like no one can know. There are still ways to get accommodations and little changes to make things easier for you, very much on the down low. So that's available. A great part about getting old like I am is that you start to find your people. And right now, your brain is tuned into what others think about you way more than adult brains. You can actually see this, like psychologists study it. It's part of growing up so that you can be independent. You need to be able to start checking in with your peers and connecting with people outside of your family. So it makes sense that if you're saying, Mom, I don't want to do that, that would make me look weird, or I'm afraid that my friends might make fun of me, that is exactly on track with your brain development. The flip side is, for the grown-ups listening, that actually is a very legitimate consideration when we're thinking about what to do for our kids. If we could get them all the accommodations in the world, but if they're too obvious and clunky to use at school, our kids just won't engage with them. And I'll tell you a little bit about brains in a bit too, to kind of make it make sense. And darlings, the last thing I want you to know is that you have a huge team of people who love you to the moon and back, including me now, and our CMTA people, Jonah. everybody is here. And I know that CMT can feel really alone because I definitely have had those moments too. And when you can, when it's available, you can start to let a little bit of light poke through. And that light comes from all of us who are supporting you. Okay. What parents need to know. Hi, parents. Now I'm actually grading you because I put my slides out of order. My apologies. You have this front part of your brain called your prefrontal cortex right here behind your forehead. It's fully developed by between like 25 and 30. That allows you to forecast into the future way more accurately and consistently and farther than a brain that's under development. So in adolescence, between 12 and 25 to 30 is when our prefrontal cortex is developing massive amounts. That means that our kids can't necessarily zoom out to the big picture and say, oh, well, I guess that you're right. Everybody's different. That's not a big deal. It's just not available right now in the way that it's available to us. So when our kids are like, well, I don't want to wear my braces, and they're having that legit kind of protest or objection, it's not that they are like, no, I didn't even want to look into the future. Sometimes it's that it's just developmentally really hard. Another component about kind of different from adult brains versus kid brains is that we can prioritize as adults kind of getting the help we need versus fitting in. It's flipped for a lot of kids, and that's just developmental. So if you have a kid that's saying like, no, 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 I don't want that accommodation, or like, don't talk about it, this is so awkward, it absolutely makes sense right now. And it's not a character flaw. It's not something that your kid's doing to be naughty or rude. It's simply something that is part of the process. Okay, here's the big component that I want to get to you. I won't read you the whole slide. There are studies that watch, like fMRIs that watch people's brains. The part of your brain, I don't know why I always act like it's right here. I don't actually know where it is, but the part of your brain that lights up when you stub your toe or have physical pain is the exact same part and network that activates when you feel socially isolated. Hold on a second. For the people in the back, social isolation is processed in the same part of your brain as physical pain. When I heard that, it just made so much sense, right? Like we're facing in an ableist society, this isolation and this loneliness and this only me kind of feel. No wonder we'll do so much to avoid feeling like that. It registers as pain in our brains. And this isn't intended to bring everybody down and say, well, we're all feeling pain. It's just to honor and recognize and celebrate the strength and courage of the people who are here with us, because that is the experience that they're having neurologically. Wild, isn't it? Okay. Oops, this is the part where I press buttons and nothing works. Okay. That is, that's me in my grandma's backyard right before I went to get the cast off after my first really huge surgery. And I was a freshman in high school, but looking at my face, I'm like, no way. That's crazy. All right, darlings, your turn right now in just a brief moment. Talk with the person you're with, write it down, or even draw what stood out to you right now. Or what would you like others to know? Or what are you noticing in your body? What are you wondering? What feelings are coming up as you learned about our brains, about not judging ourselves? Take some time and think. And if you feel like sharing, you can put it in the chat or you can unmute. And if you don't feel like sharing, that's okay. You can do it in your mind, talk, write, or draw. But I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about that. And if you're like, I don't know, I don't remember, I'm going to scooch back in the slides. So we talked about brains developing. We talked about fitting in. We talked about, oh, wait, there's ways to get help at school and not be obvious. Or you could think about, how did you react seeing somebody who works out and also knowing some of the invisible things that are behind that? Okay, I got a direct message, so I won't say the name just in case she wants to remain anonymous. But somebody said that she hates wearing her night braces, even though she knows they're good for her foot. So maybe she's recognizing, like, okay, I get it. My brain is developing, and it's harder for me to see into the future to know that it's worth it in that moment. Thank you for sharing that. That makes a lot of sense. And for time's sake, I'm going to scoot. But if you're somebody who's writing in the chat, don't feel pressure to have it done right away. We can absolutely pause when you're ready. And if you are somebody who's like, oh, I want to think about it more, that's okay too. We're going to have lots of opportunities, but I want to make sure that we have the best use of our time together. Okay. So I know I'm painting the picture right now, and then we're going to get into solutions. So we're going to just explore a little bit why it's so hard to use help sometimes. And there are a ton of reasons. So if you're a kid that's like, oh, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to go to my appointments. I don't want to wear my braces. I don't want to. And, or it's hard to ask for help when you need it. That's because you were raised in a society that sends a lot of messages about how a body should be. And so some of the reasons you might struggle with that are that you have beliefs based on what you were raised with, kind of in like the larger world and society. You might not realize how everybody uses help. You might value appearing the same and kind of not sticking out in your friend group, or worrying that you might be rejected or embarrassed. And sometimes it can even be like, I don't want to wait for help. I'll just do it on my own. It's faster. All of that makes sense. And all of that is fair. And not asking for help sometimes gets in our way. So I want to invite you to start thinking about, okay, could I soften just a little bit? Is there something that would really super help me? And I wish that I was willing to just test it out and then see, what would that testing out look like? Would that look like just trying it for a little bit, maybe at home? Would that be like rehearsing it? There's lots of different ways to try, but you can see kind of what might work for you. Okay. Lovies, CMT, and Laurel and I were talking about CMT because we both have 1A, and we were talking about it before you got on the call. And we were saying, man, there are a lot of invisible things. And the invisible challenge that Laurel and I kind of worry about lately is that wet floor. If I hit wet floor, am I going to fall? Am I going to get really, really hurt? And right now, the Paralympics are on. And if you're not watching, I would definitely encourage you to watch, because they are very much all about inclusivity, and disability is not bad, and all of those things that the world needs to hear, especially right now. And there's still space for us to think about, man, sometimes mostly invisible things like CMT can feel like you should be able to do something. Sometimes it can feel fake, or like, how come some days I'm all right and some days I don't feel so good? And by the way, this also applies to any kind of difference in your brain. So if you're also a kid with ADHD or autism or some kind of like neurodivergence, this applies there too. Like you feel like, can I focus? Because I can focus on this and I can't focus on that. So this applies more to more kids than you even realize. And it's applying to, I would say, if I had to look at your class, it would apply to at least half the kids in there, but you just don't know it because hello, invisible. So if any of these on the screen make sense to you, you're in the right place. And we're going to work on some ideas to kind of help support you. I had another comment in the chat that the person said one of the challenges of asking for help is that she feels like if she asks for help, then people will feel like she's needy or she asks for help all the time. And that makes a lot of sense, right? We want to be like this with our friends. We want to be equal, or we want to be equal with our families. And sometimes we feel like asking for help puts us under, where we're like, oh man, I'm the person that you have to help all the time. And so we can kind of challenge our thinking around that and say, but wait, do I ever help my friends? What kind of help does this person need? And start asking our brains to find evidence. I'm going to teach you a trick how to do that. Okay. So we set the stage. Invisible challenges can come with lots of like, it feels like you're paying a tax all the time. Some people describe it as feeling like you're doing double work. And sometimes it's hard to ask for help. We're going to get into an invitation of lots of different ideas to help kind of switch our perspective. And one of the very first things I want to offer is what I call detective perspective. And I just realized that that says detective. So clearly my spell check failed me, but here it is, everyone. You know, what's embarrassing too is I've presented this slide before, which means I presented it misspelled. Whoops, to like the international ADHD group. I wonder how many people saw that and didn't say anything, but hey, I'm human. This is me. There you go. Okay, here's the deal. When we struggle, we've got options. We have the option to make it mean something about us. Like, I am the struggle. This is me. This is my character. That shame component. Or we've got the option to be curious. And it might not happen instantly. You might kind of go through phases where you're like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm disappointed. I'm all the things. And then you can kind of scoot into detective perspective. And what this means is that you start thinking about, okay, this might be a pattern. I've had this happen before. What skills or strategies or tools could help me so that this doesn't keep happening? What solution am I missing? Or what could I change in my environment? Sometimes when we get into that perspective, it helps us remove all the negative, all the about me. And it just kind of feels good because now we're solving a mystery. Now it's like a puzzle and we can keep leveling up. When I was teaching, this was the thing that I think helped me get teacher of the year so many times, because when a kid struggled, I didn't get mad at them. I would just go, you're not finishing your work. What skills are you missing? And then we would work together to solve, okay, do you need breaks? Do you want me to give you the work in chunks? Is the work not making sense? Do we need to learn how to kind of chew through the work and get you some steps? There's no right or wrong answer in detective perspective, but what it offers you is a chance to feel like, all right, I can do something about this. And that feels a whole heck of a lot better than, oh, I'm stuck. This is awful. So I'll give you a recent example is I broke my leg in June and I've been on crutches ever since. And then I've said, okay, detective perspective. I love being active. I love being outside. I love working out. I love all of these things. And after I hurt my leg, it was like 2 weeks of feeling like my world really shrunk. So it took me a while to get through the ick. So I'm not presenting as in like, oh, just do this instantly. No. But once I kind of got into detective perspective, I was like, okay, I identified the things that were making me happy and felt good. I'm not going to get out of this cast for probably 8 or 10 more weeks. So how do I find strategies to get what I needed? And so I was like, okay, well, actually, I could go use the machines at the gym to work out the leg that is not broken and like do chest and back. And I could still crutch a little bit to go to like bird walks because I love being out in nature. So I figured out some cool solutions. Is it the very same? No. Are there days when I like super miss yoga and all the things that I was doing before? Totally. But detective perspective got me out of the funk and like the, feeling like I was stuck and moved me into a situation that was much more survivable and actually kind of fun some days. And I will share with you all that I had a fall on my crutches and hurt my shoulder. So now I can't really crutch too much. So again, it was the same pattern. I had to say, all right, what's still available? What can I do? And now, I'm not going to the gym. I'm not doing the bird walks and stuff. But you know what? I figured out that in the evenings, the hummingbirds come visit us and I can sit outside and look at them. I can call my nieces. There are things that bring me joy no matter what situation. And I want to offer that to you, that it is hard work to figure out and available. Oh, somebody asked do I get to those places in my cast? Do I drive? Generally, right now, my husband has to drive because it hurts to put my shoulder up and like hold the steering wheel, but I broke my left foot. So I suppose if there's any luck involved, it was that. I was able to still drive a bit. Good questions, everybody. All right. Oops. See, this is the point where I click and nothing happens. Okay. This is magical. Be ready for this. So we have a part of our brain called the RAS. It's the reticular activating system. And it is like a Google search bar. So what your RAS does is like you have information coming in all over the place. Ow, I shouldn't have done that with my left arm. And your brain can't handle everything all at once. It would be TMI. So we've got this really cool part of our brain that says, hey, listen, tell me what to find you and I'll find it. And I'm going to ignore the rest of the stuff. So your RAS is active all the time. And it's pulling out the parts of your life that you told it to look for. So an example that people give all the time is that if you are shopping for a car, and I know some of you are young for it, but bear with me. If you were like, what car might I like? And then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. You're like, what? I didn't even know that my neighbor had a Subaru and now I see it on the freeway all the time. And do you know my teacher drives a Subaru? It's everywhere. That's because all those Subarus were around. But once you gave your RAS the job of thinking about a Subaru, it went, okay, got it. I'm your brain search bar and I'm going to find you some Subarus. And when they come up in real life, I'm going to go ding, 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 pay attention to those. Here's why this matters. Obviously, we're not all car shopping. What we believe about ourselves and our situation also goes into our search bar. So if we're feeling like, oh, I'll never be able to do anything, your brain's going to hear that and go, got it. Okay, I'm going to search for evidence that you're not going to be able to do anything. And so the minute maybe you drop something you're trying to open, your brain's going to say, see, you're not going to be able to do anything. Or if like a friend picks somebody else before they pick you, see, you're never going to get picked. what we believe about ourselves, our brains will prove. And here's the cool thing. We can use baby steps to think just a little bit more positive about ourselves, maybe even start with something neutral so that that gives our search bar something else to look for. So if you're in a dark spot or in kind of feeling like, oh, this is too much, I'm mad about it, you can honor that. We'll learn about processing emotions in just a bit. But also, you can think about, okay, what do I want to believe about this? Like in my circumstance, I wanted to believe I still have joy. And so I practiced that. And then my brain was like, got it. Okay, we're looking for joy. And so then I started noticing how cute my cat's little black beans are of the bottom of her foot and how like what the hummingbirds look like in the sparkly sunshine and how my husband's such a goofball. And yesterday he pretended that a crutch was a flute. Those kind of things, just joy is around because I asked my search bar to look for it. Okay. Another cool thing is our brains hate to be wrong, like very hate to be wrong. That's why when we study and we use flashcards and the flashcard, we're like so close, but we're not there. That's why we pay extra attention because our brains hate to not know. We hate to be wrong. So we've got that kind of biased brain of it wants to look for evidence of what you believe. Let's use it to our advantage. Okay. So how the heck do we do that? Because if you're feeling like defeated or upset about CMT, I think it's too far of a leap to go from that to like, I have a perfect body, like maybe the affirmations might say. At least for me, it's too hard. So instead, and the people I work with, instead we use kind of baby steps. So for an example, like with somebody with ADHD, they might say, I have a brain that needs to feel interested to get through something boring. We can do the same thing for our bodies and thinking about CMT. So I have a body that sometimes needs to rest when it walks a long way. Or sometimes I need to ice my foot at the end of the day. And what we're doing is just neutralizing. We're just adding statements rather than like, oh, I hate my body or oh, I'm so mad about it. It's giving us a way to talk about it that doesn't feel so action packed and emotional. So if you would like to explore these, we're going to give yourself just a chance. But before that, I want to tell you, we live in a society that has a lot of thoughts on the words like special and disabled. And if those make your body react, you can usually feel like you might back up, you might feel hot, your temperature might change, you might shake, you might get sweaty. All of those are signs that your body has an emotional reaction to specific words. There's no need to use those if they upset you. You can just change them to more neutral, like wonky or rough or tricky or challenge. And those are the types of words that I use with myself and with the students that I work with. And that can also help give you a way to talk about something without feeling like it's too embarrassed and scary. Embarrassing. There we go. Okay. Your turn. So you can think, write, say it, or draw it. I have a body or brain that needs, sometimes feels, is helped by. Take some time to think about how would you describe your CMT or whatever challenge you're thinking about right now in a neutral way. And again, if you want to unmute and share, if you want to type it or have the grown-up who brought you, possibly dragged you here, type it for you or unmute. We'd love to hear kind of what you're coming up with. My body needs energy and joy. Ooh, I have a body that sometimes feels pain in my feet. Yeah. And can you see how that feels a little bit different than I have a body that hurts all the time or I have a body that I hate? Instead, it's like, okay, I have a body that sometimes feels pain in my feet. These also work as responses to if somebody asks you, like, what's going on? Why do your feet look like that? Or why do you walk like that? You can have these prepared and ready to respond. And if they're neutral, if they sound like facts, it does not feed a bully. The bullies are like, oh, you weren't upset. Okay, I'll move on. So that's another way to consider using these is just to have them ready. Like, yeah, I got a thing. It's a muscle thing. And just shut it down. That can be really helpful too. Yeah. So CMT makes my legs tired. Sometimes it helps when people walk slower with me. Yeah. And can you imagine how, like, your friends would be like, okay, cool. Rather than, like, you know, there's no opportunity to make fun of you. There's no like judgment or negative. It's just like, here's a fact. Here's what I need. Let's groove. I love it. Thank you all for writing your ideas. If you did not write them, I hope that they help. You don't, there's no pressure to share them, but if you want to share them after I move on, you're not too late. We can always pause and celebrate those. Okay. Here's a tricky part, my darling parents and kids. You can listen to this and tell your parents if this makes sense to your brain, and it might and it might not. So generally, and I know I have this tendency too, we see kid in pain, we want to scoop them up, be like, no, 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 I need to protect you. I need to like fix this right now. Sometimes in our efforts, in our intention to make them feel better right away, sometimes that skips the grieving or the upset process. And that ends up making our kids feel unheard, maybe dismissed or not validated. So when our kids come to us and feel sad about CMT or frustrated with something that happened about school, and we say, no big deal. Don't even worry about the other kids. Like, but you have so many other good things. Like, stay positive. Don't worry. That our intention is to kind of like envelop our kids in love. But the low key message can be, that's not important. You're overreacting. That's not a big deal. Shut it down. And that's certainly not your intention. But from a lot of the kids that I work with and hear from, and this is also within the context of like ADHD or autism, all of that, the kids sometimes reflect, I feel like nobody gets it. So if you have done that, forgive yourself because I certainly have done that. I probably do it to myself sometimes, but I want to offer an alternative. So we always go with like, here's the challenge, here's the solution, possibly. Detective perspective, right? So there's a flow that you can go through. And I actually just wrote an article for our CMTA magazine for this. So you'll have that kind of as backup in a few months. But the flow could be you just hear your kid, just let them get it out. And that part of you that wants to fix it is going to be right here behind your mouth. Like, I need to say something now. And if you do need to talk, tell them what they're saying. Honey, I hear you saying, do I have that right? Sweetheart, it sounds like you're feeling very I hear what you're sharing, and that sounds like it could have felt. So we're not jumping into fix immediately. We're just hearing, we're saying, wow, I'm with you. I'm feeling it with you. I'm sitting beside you. I'm here. That helps not skip the reactive stage of having something happen. And oftentimes that can actually scoot us through the process faster, because it's like, wow, I have a teammate. I was heard. I feel like, okay, this person gets me. And then once you see signs that your kid is ready-ish, which could be like the tears have stopped, maybe their speech has slowed down again, they seem more like their non-upset version of themselves, that's when you can ask, what do you need right now? And usually it's something for comfort. Usually it's not even a solution in the moment. Usually it's a tool. And the tools that kids that I've worked with have found helpful could be like positive distractions, visualizations. So visualizing something that they really love, or kind of taking a moment to travel mentally. That could be reading, that could be watching a show. Positive sensory, like snuggles, or some kids like light pressure, some kids like kind of like positive squeezes. All of those are ideas available. This will be tricky, parents, because initially we just want to be like, my baby, no, thank you. I need to like, and I feel that with you. Yet, as someone who has seen, I mean, my whole mission in life is to work with kids who struggle. So the kids that I hang with have been through this process over and over again, and every human has. What's really shown to help is this flow of, listen, honey, it sounds like I hear you sharing. Do I have that right? It seems like you might be a little bit calmer right now. What would be helpful? What does your body need? What does your heart need? And spoiler alert, you will not get this right the first 10 times. It's hard to do. You might actually, but it might feel really clunky. It might feel like not your automatic self. It might feel like, wait, what am I supposed to say? And that's all very natural. So it's going to take some work. And one strategy might be to like have a little tool, like a little reminder on your phone ready, or somewhere as like a little sticky note, so that you have that available. If if you do get in the moment and it's emotional and you're like, I can't think, you'll have those options. Okay. And I know that we're kind of flying through, and I want to make sure that we have time to interact. So if anything is making a ton of sense and you want to connect, or it's not making sense and you want to ask a question, unmute or jump in the chat at any time. That's available for all of us. I have just a couple more things that I wanted to kind of put out there as food for thought. So we live in a society that has a lot of ableism still. And ableism is just the preferential treatment and the idealization. I might be butchering that, but we make the ideal the able-bodied, no physical challenges at all person. First of all, that person does not exist throughout lifetime, because even if you don't have CMT or ADHD or autism or any challenge, eventually you will have some challenges just associated with getting older. But somehow we live in this magical thinking where we think the perfect person exists. And compared to them, if you're not that, then you're lower. And if you think about society like a soup, like let's say you're the noodle in that soup. If you've grown up, if you've cooked in that soup, bear with me, you will take on that flavor. You can't help it. If you're in the soup, like you will taste like the broth. The same kind of thing happens to our thinking. Even though logically I can say, I don't even believe that. Like I believe there's a range of abilities and we're all equal. there are still ableist thoughts that have like soaked in through my society soup that I'll catch myself judging myself. That's part of our process as we move through our mindset, is to just catch those thoughts and then pull them out and look at them and be like, do I like you? Where did you come from? Do I want to keep you? And sometimes that's a quick fix of like, oh, that's silly. I can't believe I'm, as an example, I worked with a kid who believed that if you had ADHD, you'd never get married. And that was something that just was in her head. That was something that maybe she heard before, and she was a teenager when she said it out loud. And then we both kind of blinked and said, what? And she's like, I don't know. I don't even know why I believe that. I'm like, can I offer you some examples of how that's not actually true? And it changed pretty quick for her. So sometimes we can find those sneaky buggers that have soaked up and we can say, oh, I don't like you, no thanks. Sometimes it's going to take a little bit. But what I want to honor is that that is an invisible force in our game of life that we're playing against that we need to recognize. And so the reality we're in is that there will be times where we feel excluded if we can't walk as fast or participate in games. There still may be moments where people verbalize like judging us or saying that it's laziness because they can't see our nerves and our muscles. And that is something that might hurt once in a while. And as part of our mindset, we can determine how are we going to navigate when that happens? What are our tools for that? And just kind of better prepare ourselves, because until Jonah and Laurel and I like change this world where we're like this close, but until that day, we're going to have these tricky moments. Okay, but here's the deal. Remember detective perspective, problem solution, challenge strategy? Here it is. You get to plan how you treat yourself. So you get to decide when you have a tough moment, what does it mean? Does it mean that I failed, so I am a failure, like match? Or does it mean I failed and that's evidence that I'm trying and I'm growing? And those are both equally available to you. You have the opportunity after a tough moment to ask yourself, all right, what am I going to make this mean? And again, like I shared with breaking my leg, it might not be instant. You might pop into, because it's probably a more familiar path. You might pop into, oh, this again, and feel a little bit low for a little bit. And you always have the opportunity to challenge your own thinking and think, okay, is this available? Can I treat myself in a new way? So just like we taught your parents to let you be emotional for a little bit and then ask about tools, you can do the very same thing for yourself. Let it be emotional. I know, Savannah, when you broke your leg, probably there were some big feelings around it because that is so disappointing. Let it be emotional for a little bit. Then you can go into the neutral language of, I'm experiencing XYZ happened. Here are the facts. And then we can kind of get into, okay, how am I going to treat myself? And one of the things that you can do as a family is to start really normalizing that actually no perfect humans exist. And there are internal things that we're all kind of going through. And that can help as well. Plus, it's perfect timing because watching the Paralympics has really been super wonderful for me, and I think a lot of people. Okay. That is my adorable niece, Emmy, and I want to offer you this. When she was learning to swallow a pill, she had to try, you can see it on the screen, 67 times. And you know what? She called me so excited, you guys. And she said, Auntie, I did it. And it only took me 67 tries. And maybe your reaction is like, wait, she was excited about 67? But she was so excited. Don't ask me why she counted how many times it took. And then she fell in love with Tic Tacs because she was practicing with Tic Tacs. But the thing is, she figured it out. And that spirit of being willing to try 67 times, or like WD-40 is named 40 because it took them 40 iterations to get the formula right. That is available for us. So thank you all for being here. I've been so excited to do this webinar for weeks because I really truly believe in this and know that it does get better. Kids and teens who are watching, I very much promise you, and you've got a huge team here and at your house, and probably bigger than you even realize.
Thank you, Sarah. It was wonderful information. Even though I know you were really designing this for kids and teens, I was taking notes. I love the detective perspective and how important it is to like how we treat ourselves. That's so incredibly important.
Rebecca agrees. It's probably the most important thing. Attitude, being kind to yourself. Pretty amazing stuff. Are there any questions that anyone has for Sarah? Comments? Anything whatsoever? You can use the chat. You can unmute yourself and use your voice. You can throw smoke signals into the air, whatever works for you. Awesome. Awesome. Let's put Sarah's email in the bottom. Sarah, what email would you like us to include?
Yeah, I'll drop it in the chat for
Okay,
you.
sounds good. And your website as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll also put my email address in the chat in case anyone has any questions or ever wants to connect about your child. Please feel free to reach out anytime.
Can I ask a quick question? It's um, my son has normalized some words at school with his friends that they were really rough for him to start with, and now he's normalized them. And I just don't know if that's his friends call him crippled, and so he'll kind of joke and call himself crippled. But I think he's just sucking it up. Mm-hmm. And he tries to make jokes at, he tries to turn it around, but I just kind of want your thoughts on it. I don't know, because you were talking about neutral language and finding other words, but you were using words like disabled.
Yeah, crippled would count in that list of emotionally charged words.
Right. And they've been much, they're rough, but they're 13-year-old boys, and language is, they use a lot of really severe language with each other. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm asking exactly.
I think, and I can validate that you're noticing something that could be really tricky, and there's your gut instinct of like, he's going with it, but it doesn't really feel good. There's likely some truth, and he might be a little bit torn because when I teach kids with autism that maybe the social communication doesn't come naturally to them, not to say your kid has autism, but I know that this will lead somewhere, is that when you're teaching teenage boys with autism to bond, weirdly enough, one of the things that Western society boys do is they rib each other, and that's how you know you're in.
Exactly.
So partially there's a truth component of like, if they're calling him Crip and giving him a nickname and like, that's you're in,
That's right.
It's really tricky. I know after 2 surgeries at one of the schools I was teaching at, 2 of the people from the special ed staff would call me Gimp or Cripple. Mm-hmm. And I went with it, Audrey. I was like, okay, I guess I'm in. And looking back, it was incredibly painful. I dreaded seeing them. My body had a reaction every time they used the word of getting hot. And so it'd be interesting to explore if your son's open to it, you know, like what does that word conjure up for him? What does it, you know, kind of make him feel? And if that's not something that he wants anymore, you absolutely can get the kid's parents and the school on board to be like, nix it, it's not cool.
Okay. And I just wanted to say thank you for the ableism, you know, section that put a word to it for me, because we just had to fight the district to get him out of adaptive PE into regular PE.
Mm-hmm.
And they fought us hard. And so we wanted to do what he wanted. And so that was really helpful for me. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh, good. Yeah. I mean, I wish that it wasn't a truth that we were in. Like,
But
I don't want to be thanked for ableism, but I'm glad that it's,
but I mean,
you know, at
to
least
understand that and put a word, you know, I didn't know that was a word. So that was great for me.
and now your brain, like your RAS, is going to be looking for examples. You'll see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Good comments and questions. Yeah. You're an awesome mom, Audrey. Wow. I love that you know, you let him choose and have such a voice. It's wonderful.
Well, he has a strong voice. So, you know, it's a good thing.
I'll need it. Yeah, that's great. Well, wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here, and enormous thanks to our amazing guest speaker, Sarah Kesty. You generously share your time with the CMTA community, and it is not lost on us. We're incredibly grateful. So appreciate your wisdom tonight. And thank you all, wonderful families and kiddos, for joining us. And we hope to see you again soon. And please reach out to the CMTA if we can help you navigate anything in your CMT journey. We are here to support you.